Multiple critical vulnerabilities have been identified in FreePBX, a widely used open-source private branch exchange platform. These flaws pose significant risks, potentially allowing attackers to bypass authentication and execute remote code. The vulnerabilities were discovered by Horizon3.ai and reported to the FreePBX maintainers on September 15, 2025. Among them is a severe authentication bypass vulnerability, which could enable unauthorized access to the administrator control panel under specific configurations. The most critical of these vulnerabilities, with a CVSS score of 9.3, was fixed on December 9, 2025, along with others that had been addressed earlier in October. Next, we'll break down the details of these vulnerabilities, the potential impact on users, and the steps taken to mitigate these risks. If you find this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to InfoSec Now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals. If you found this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to InfoSec Now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals. On September 15, 2025, Horizon3.ai identified several critical vulnerabilities within FreePBX, leading to significant security concerns for users of the platform. Following this discovery, the vulnerabilities were disclosed to the FreePBX maintainers, prompting immediate action to mitigate the risks associated with these flaws. The vulnerabilities were categorized under specific CVE identifiers, with CV 2025-61675 and CV 2025-61678 each receiving a CVSS score of 8.6, indicating a high severity level. These vulnerabilities allowed for SQL injection and arbitrary file uploads, respectively, which could potentially enable attackers to manipulate the database and execute malicious code. Furthermore, CV 2025-66039, with a CVSS score of 9.3, presented a particularly alarming authentication bypass scenario under certain configurations, raising the stakes for system administrators. In response to these vulnerabilities, FreePBX released patches for the affected versions on October 14 and December 9, 2025. These updates addressed the critical flaws, but users were cautioned that the underlying vulnerable code remained present. The FreePBX team recommended that users modify their configurations to enhance security, specifically advising against the use of the web server authentication type due to its legacy nature and associated risks. To further safeguard users, FreePBX implemented a new requirement for authentication provider settings, mandating manual configuration through the command line. This change was designed to eliminate the potential for inadvertent security lapses that could expose systems to exploitation. The security implications of these vulnerabilities extend beyond technical flaws. They underscore the necessity for stringent security practices and awareness among FreePBX users. As highlighted by Horizon3.ai's Noah King, the vulnerabilities are not only easily exploitable but also highlight the importance of maintaining up-to-date security measures and configurations to protect against potential remote code execution attacks. As users of FreePBX grapple with the implications of these vulnerabilities, the immediate impact on security practices is becoming increasingly evident. The critical flaws, particularly the authentication bypass and SQL injection vulnerabilities, highlight the necessity for robust security measures tailored to open-source software environments. Users must now reassess their configurations to ensure they are not inadvertently exposing their systems to potential threats. Following the disclosure, FreePBX has taken steps to enhance user awareness by implementing dashboard warnings about the risks associated with the web server authentication type. This proactive measure underscores the importance of user education in cybersecurity. The removal of the option to choose an authentication provider from the advanced settings, requiring manual configuration via command line, reflects a shift towards stricter security protocols. Users are now compelled to engage more deeply with their systems, elevating the importance of understanding command line tools for effective security management. In light of these vulnerabilities, the recommended temporary mitigations emphasize the need for immediate action from users. By advising the setting of authorization type to User Manager and disabling override read-only settings, FreePBX is steering users away from potentially dangerous configurations. This shift not only enhances security but also serves as a reminder of the importance of regular system audits, particularly for those who may have inadvertently activated vulnerable settings. Moreover, the advice to analyze systems for signs of compromise post-incident is a critical reminder of the ongoing nature of cybersecurity threats. Users must adopt a mindset of vigilance, regularly monitoring their systems for unusual activity and ensuring all software is up to date with the latest patches. This incident illustrates a broader trend in cybersecurity where the responsibility for security increasingly falls on the end user, particularly in open-source environments where the community-driven nature can sometimes lead to vulnerabilities being overlooked. Ultimately, the FreePBX vulnerabilities serve as a stark reminder of the evolving landscape of cybersecurity. As attackers become more sophisticated, users must remain proactive, embracing best practices and adopting a security-first approach to safeguard their communications infrastructure. As FreePBX users and administrators assess their systems in light of these recent vulnerabilities, immediate action is essential to safeguard their environments. First and foremost, users should ensure they are running the latest patched versions of FreePBX. Specifically, versions 16.0.92 and 17.0.6 address critical SQL injection and file upload vulnerabilities, while versions 16.0.44 and 17.0.23 rectify the authentication bypass issue. For those who may have inadvertently enabled the web server authentication type, it is crucial to revert this setting to User Manager as recommended. This change not only enhances security but also mitigates the risk posed by the legacy code associated with the web server authentication method. Administrators should also execute a thorough review of their system logs and configurations to detect any signs of compromise, particularly if the vulnerable settings were previously active. In addition to these immediate steps, users should familiarize themselves with the new command line requirement for setting the authentication provider. This change underscores the importance of maintaining up-to-date documentation and training for all personnel involved in system administration. Moreover, it is advisable to implement a proactive security posture by regularly monitoring for updates and patches from the FreePBX community, as well as engaging with forums or user groups that focus on best practices in securing open-source platforms. Finally, organizations should consider conducting a broader security audit of their PBX environment, evaluating not only FreePBX but also the surrounding infrastructure, to ensure a comprehensive approach to cybersecurity. By taking these steps, FreePBX users can significantly reduce their risk exposure and enhance the overall security of their communication systems. If you found this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to InfoSec Now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals.